This year I launched a research-based module, Imagining European Futures, which addresses some of the key challenges to European integration. The module is supported by the European Union's Erasmus Plus program. I asked our students to share their research ideas.
So my project's on Brexit and the impact it will have on European integration. And I think this is a really important topic because Brexit is like the most defining moment in politics of my life so far, and I think it will continue to define it because it will not be solved by this general election. It won't be solved in the near future. And I want to understand the implications it will have not only domestically but in Europe as a whole and on the bigger, larger scale of the European integration project.
I want to look into democratic backsliding or constitutional capture, as Muller calls it, within the EU. There's some talk of sort of what happened in Austria in 2000, that they sort of acted preemptively, and then that came back to sort of bite them because it turned the Austrian people sort of against the EU towards the government that could have backslided more, so almost legitimised them in anything that happened. So they've been very hesitant with Orban in Hungary because they don't want to turn the people against the EU, and also it's quite a tricky one because it plays into the propaganda of Orban that it's him versus the EU.
My project is about how external differentiated integration is being used to prevent particular countries from joining the EU. Countries like Ukraine, them joining the EU would worsen relations with Russia massively, and the EU doesn't want that. And countries like Turkey, it's cultural differences, and despite the fact the EU is extremely multicultural, it's too big a difference for at least the common EU citizen, and they're the people who the EU obviously has to answer to.
I will focus especially on the area of freedom, security and justice, and how a withdrawal from this will undermine Britain's counter-terrorism policy, as access to shared databases and defence funds which protect Britain from outside threats will be limited or completely abolished.
So in my research paper I'm looking at the enlargement process that the EU is undertaking with the Eurozone. I think it's important because obviously the Eurozone's had a lot of economic problems in the 21st century, but obviously it's got a lot of potential as well. So in my paper I'm saying that the enlargement of the Eurozone should be postponed in order to make the enlargement beneficial in the future. So in my paper I discussed that the Eurozone is suffering from enlargement fatigue, and this is a main reason why postponement is the best idea. And I also discussed the effectiveness of the EU's convergence criteria, because again, while it's very effective in ensuring that nations are ready to join the Eurozone, what it doesn't do is prevent negative economic behaviours once nations have joined.